There are things people carry for years without ever saying a word. Not because they're fine, not because it didn't matter, not because they've moved on. Sometimes it's because the words feel too heavy, because they're scared of what might happen if they say it to the wrong person. Sometimes it's because they've spent so long trying to survive quietly that silence starts to feel like it's the safest place. Sometimes it's because if it's said out loud, it makes it real. I'm not an expert in this, far from it. This is one of the first steps of my own personal journey, and I've only just started out. I'm building the road as I walk along it, making a travel journal as I go. I can't tell you what to do, how to feel, or what your first step should be, but I can choose to share my steps. I'm not pretending to be a psychologist or that I have the answers. This is an entirely new channel. I do not want my son to stumble across it. I'm not doing this for likes, views, subscriptions, or attention. I'm doing it because I'm tired of walking down the pavement staring at my feet, avoiding eye contact. I'm doing it so I can look at myself in the mirror, so I can start to take back control. And I'm doing this because there may be somebody listening who's carrying something similar. If that's you, you shouldn't have to carry it alone. It's too much. For the longest time, I felt awkward around other people in a way I couldn't explain. A feeling that I don't quite belong. A disconnect of sorts. Even in my circle of friends, I feel like I'm standing at the edge of the group, watching from the outside. Not unwanted, not uninvited, just not fully there. Like there's a barrier I don't know how to cross. Like I'm a ghost. I've wondered if it was me not being emotionally invested enough. If part of me was refusing to be accepted. If I was keeping myself at a distance. But why would I do that? Purposely sabotage myself? Why would I stand to the side while people enjoy something together, wanting to join in, but afraid? Afraid of what? Of being included? Of being accepted? Sometimes it feels like I'm living a borrowed life, like I don't quite give myself permission to accept it as mine, as if, for some reason, some part of me decided I'm not worthy of fully belonging. To my family, to my friend group. The more I look into myself, the more questions I have. Am I broken? Is this just me, or did something happen that made me this way? And if so, what was it, and why can't I remember? Months ago, my brother asked what I remembered about him as a child, and I had to apologize because I realized I don't really remember most of my own childhood, let alone his. When people talk about their teenage years, when they tell stories about who they were, I feel jealous. From around 16, I can remember my life pretty clearly. But before that, a large part of it feels missing. There's a whole section of time where I can't really tell you what happened, and I've been trying to understand that absence for decades. I have brief flashes, occasional fragments. Around 35 years ago, I was at boarding school. We stayed there during the weekends, and one Saturday I went off to explore a small local wood with another child. I remember it being a sunny autumn day. Light came through gaps in the trees above and scattered onto a carpet of leaves of different colours. It's strange, the details that stay with you. The light, the leaves, the quiet. We encountered a group of bored, older, bigger boys. They told us to come over. We did. We were young, we were trusting, we were naive. We couldn't run, they were faster. We couldn't fight, they were bigger. The memory of that encounter is blurred, but the feeling of it is not. I'm not going to describe what happened. I don't need to, and I don't want to. What matters is that it was frightening, sexualized, and forced. It happened under threats of violence while the group watched and laughed. At that age, I didn't have the language for consent, but I knew fear. I knew I had no real choice. The option to say no was taken from me. Then we were threatened to stay quiet or face the consequences, so I stayed quiet. I was left with shame, humiliation, fear, guilt, helplessness, degradation, self-loathing, disgust. Feelings that somehow became mine to carry at the age of 12. Feelings no man, woman, or child should ever be forced to feel. Not long ago, something forced those feelings to the surface, a sudden emotional response I couldn't explain at the time. And later, the memory, the context for those feelings, followed. It had been waiting in the darkness, a monster hidden behind all the ways I'd learned to cope, and it's had its claws in me ever since, following me from the moment I wake until I finally fall asleep. I think I'm just starting to understand why I felt that disconnect and how broadly that event has shaped me. Trauma has a way of binding itself to your daily life. It can affect how you see yourself, whether you feel you belong, how you respond to closeness, how you react to conflict, how safe you feel in ordinary situations, how you respond when something touches the wound. From the outside, people may only see the reaction, the flinch, the shock. They don't see the history behind it. They don't see the things you don't know how to say because you don't understand them yourself yet. For a long time, I thought silence was the answer. I thought, if I didn't talk about it, then maybe it would stay contained. Maybe it wouldn't affect anybody else. Maybe I could just get on with my borrowed life. But silence doesn't always protect you. Sometimes it becomes an invisible cage, leaving you trapped, alone with the monster. You don't have to share before you're ready, but if something has happened to you, please tell someone safe, a trusted friend, someone you love, your GP, a counsellor, a support service, because saying it to one safe person can be the first step towards opening the door to that cage. It doesn't magically fix everything. It doesn't undo what happened, but it can stop you being completely alone with it. I told my wife. I was frightened to say it out loud, but I did, and she supported me. She didn't make me feel weak. She didn't make me feel ashamed. She helped me realize that I didn't have to keep carrying it alone. She gently pushed me to contact someone whose job it is to help with this kind of pain. I didn't take that step because I suddenly became brave. I took it because somebody who loves me helped me see that I needed support. After my wife, I read the script to my mother, my stepfather, and my brother. It helped explain something to them that I'd struggled with for years. The distance, a lack of closeness, a feeling of not quite fitting in without knowing why. My brother paused after I told him, and then he said that before going to that school, we used to be friends, but something had happened there, and I'd changed. So if you know me personally and you've noticed a change, now you know why. I work on a help desk, and I'm the primary contact for our customers. I'm the guy on the phone who has a chat, tells jokes, asks about the kids, and stays upbeat throughout the whole process, but at the moment, it's harder than it looks. I can still sound like myself, but some days it takes everything I've got. So if I seem quiet, distant, or like I'm somewhere else, please don't take it as me pulling away. I'm just sad. I'm still me. Talk to me, laugh with me. If I go quiet for a moment, just give me a little time, and I'll find my way back. When you feel ready, take your first step in your own time with someone safe. If you're in the UK, there are services that can help you take that step. A Sexual Assault Referral Centre, often called a SARC, can offer medical, practical and emotional support after rape, sexual assault or abuse. They're who I contacted first, and I've since been referred to a local specialist group. Google SARC to find your local centre. Rape Crisis England and Wales runs a free 24-hour rape and sexual abuse support line for anyone aged 16 or over who's been affected by rape, child sexual abuse, sexual assault, harassment or any form of sexual violence. Their number is 0808 500 2222. I'm seeking support, and I'm not trying to face this alone. If you're struggling with your mental health, or if you feel like you might not be safe, please contact emergency services, NHS 111, your GP, or a crisis support service such as Samaritans. You can call Samaritans free on 116 123. Some survivor organisations estimate that around 1 in 6 boys experience sexual abuse before the age of 18. The Male Survivors Partnership, found at malesurvivor.co.uk, is a collaboration of agencies who work with male survivors of sexual violence and is a good resource for information, as is www.oneinsix.uk. The point of this video is simple. For 35 years, I've lived in the shadow of something that robbed me of parts of my childhood, my emotional growth, and my happiness. I can't change what happened, but I'm done letting silence protect the monster instead of protecting me. For years, I've scoffed at the idea of people needing to seek help with their problems. I tell myself, I'm far too strong-willed to ever need that. And that works. For a while. Until you wake up crying. Needing help doesn't make you weak. It doesn't mean you're broken, and it doesn't make you a burden. It just means something happened that was too heavy to carry alone, and that's why I'm asking anyone still listening, please don't push away the people who care about you because you're afraid they won't understand. Give someone you trust the chance to be there, and please, try to be kind to each other. You never know what might be below the surface. You never know what monster might be waiting in the darkness. And if this is something you're carrying, you don't have to tell everyone. But please, tell someone.